Greetings. This is Group 36, and we start off our progress presentation by introducing ourselves and stating which topic each of us will talk about. My name is Abdurrahman Idris. I'm the project manager of this group, and I'll be talking about the experimental design of this project.
Hello, my name is Faisal Al-Suwalim, and I'll be talking about the introduction and the project assignment.
Yeah, my name is Othman Al-Humedi, and I'll go over the project's design and the problem.
Hello, my name is Ahmad Abu Fadali, and I'll be talking about project modeling.
Hi, my name is Osama Al-Mansour, and I will be talking about experimental analysis and future plans.
In this presentation, we will talk about our progress in our project regarding the investigation of the effects of reduced salinity water injection on enhanced oil recovery compared to high saline water injection in U.S. reservoirs. We will start with our meetings. The team and I usually meet on weekly basis in order to discuss and negotiate our contributions throughout our chronology for attempting to reach our milestone with mutual satisfactory. Furthermore, this has eventuated us to 1. Assign our members role. 2. Initiate a design model for our project. And lastly, we will mention our problems that we have encountered during our planning time, which has unfortunately resulted in a possibility to change our project's main topic that Usama will further explain. Now, members assignment. We have assigned each group member to perform the tasks that are best suited for each group individual to effectively proceed with the project. These tasks are 1. Gathering data and resources, in other words, research and findings. 2. Establishing connections, reliable connections. 3. Learning how to design a model and simulate a reservoir and therefore mastering them. 4. Constructing experiments. Osama will be responsible for finding relevant resources, and Ahmed will gather data from several connections, whereas Uthman and I will be familiarized with the simulation softwares. And lastly, Abdurrahman will be the one who will construct experiments. In addition, Ahmed will help Osama and Abdurrahman with completing their tasks if needed.
For our project design, we first try to create or design a model for reduced salinity water flooding and implement it to different scenarios or case studies. This will give us a clear understanding on how low saline water would result in a higher recovery, despite the well's condition, and comparing that to a water with much higher salt concentration. Moreover, a good amount of experiments will be conducted in the lab to represent real-life situations. Moving on, there are certain problems that we encountered during our progress. First of all, lab experiments are one of our main sources of data, and until now, we don't have any reserved labs for next semester. If the problem proceeds, a better alternative is to rely on resources with experimental data. Additionally, our next problem is the limited knowledge on simulation across our team members. And to solve this issue, members have to read and learn about numerical simulation and be familiar with programs such as CMG. Finally, our group doesn't have an advisor to guide us throughout our project, and we are currently looking for an industry advisor to support us.
Simulator design. A modeling computer program called Computer Modeling Group, or CMG, will be used during our project. The simulator program can be used as a substitute of the lab experiment or to support the results of our lab experiment depending on the availability of LSU labs as mentioned before. When our group will have all the data required to run the project, it will be modeled using CMG, where the model will be built from scratch to improve the production performance for conventional oil reservoirs. For the project purposes, CMG is suitable because of its no-cost advantage in addition to its flexibility to edit data as desired. The figure shown is an example of a grid that we are planning to work on. The grid has two wells, one for injection and one for production located in opposite corners. Several cases of injection low saline water will be tested. Moreover, we might suggest a 5-spot or 9-spot injection pattern depending on the necessity of our project in the future. For example, the 5-spot injection pattern suggests 4 injection wells located in the corner of the grid with 1 production well in the middle. The purpose of this pattern is to displace the oil towards the central production well to improve oil recovery.
The experimental design of this project will go through 3 main stages, which are seawater co-flooding, low salinity water co-flooding, and physical interaction. The procedure for this experiment will start off by acquiring various core samples with different properties. After performing the seawater core flooding, we will use the data gathered to develop a relative permeability versus water saturation graph for each core examined. Here is an example of one of the core samples that will be used in this experiment. The same procedure will be conducted this time using low salinity water. After developing the relative permeability versus water saturation plot for each core, we will compare the results with the seawater co-flooding results. The aim for this comparison is to hopefully match our results with the simulation part of the project and reach to a well-supported conclusion.
Core flooding experiment analysis. We want to analyze the differences in the relative permeability curves and the residual oil saturation between all the core samples to try to identify all the properties that affect the residual oil saturation. And then we will try to develop an empirical relationship between the different rock properties and water properties with the percent improvement in oil recovery. Future plans. Physical interaction experiment. We haven't designed physical interaction experiment yet, but we are planning to design one because the mechanism in oil recovery using the low salinity water flooding is not fully understood. So we want to design an experiment that will allow us to see how oil molecules interact with salt water and how they would interact with low salinity water. And this might help us to support the most relevant theory. Plan B. In the case we encounter difficult problems that will prevent us from successfully completing our project, a Plan B topic was already proposed and prepared. Plan B project. Hydrophobic coatings in pipe. We are not going to talk in details about Plan B project since it's not our current project. However, since we spent time on preparing it, we considered it as a progress in our plans and we wanted to include it in this presentation. The advantages of this project is that relatively it's an easy topic and interesting. The second is that it does not require sophisticated equipment. And the third is that the experiments does not necessarily need to be performed in the laboratory. And the fourth is that it's relatively easy to create a simulation model of it.